Honor, we would ask Mr. Jeff Morgan to stand, please, and be sworn in. And we would like to identify any other people there in the courtroom that may have a connection to the case that we may want to call in as witness. Mr. Morgan?
Okay.
Is that your name?
My name is Jeff Morgan. I am from Dallas, Texas. In the last video that I did, I reported about attorney Rick Robertson of KoonsFuller, and what he did to me on Friday, January the 24th, when I was attempting to cover a hearing as a news reporter for United Parents for Children News. Attorney Rick Robertson had me excluded from reporting on the proceedings by calling me as a witness to something that I basically knew nothing about. He called me as a witness because I had done a report on a previous hearing that I attended. He was, in my opinion, trying to keep me from reporting on what he and his law firm are doing in these courts. This is in violation of the Texas State Constitution, Article 1, Section 13, which says that all courts shall be open. All courts shall be open for people to go in. It is our responsibility and duties as citizens of the state of Texas to actually attend some of these hearings to see what's going on, to see whether justice is being done in our courts or whether injustice is routinely being administered. It is our responsibility and duty to determine whether attorneys are acting with professionalism and in accordance with their creed or not. And speaking of the attorney's creed, in 1989, November the 7th, 1989, there is a Texas lawyer's creed. It is a mandate for professionalism. It was promulgated by the Supreme Court of Texas and the Court of Criminal Appeals. So for lawyers, they are supposed to affirm that they are lawyers. They are entrusted by the people of Texas to preserve and improve our legal system, not to find quirks in it, and not to undermine it, and not to seek to use it to exclude people that can actually be sitting in on a hearing under the open courts doctrine and having them excluded from watching and observing and reporting on their behavior. And it continues on by saying, I am licensed by the Supreme Court of Texas. I must therefore abide by the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct. But I know that professionalism requires more than merely avoiding violation of laws and rules. I am committed to this creed for no other reason than it is right. That it is right. One of the reasons that many people in Texas do not believe in the integrity of the judicial process anymore is because we cannot trust these attorneys as they go into courts. And we also have grave questions about some of the judges who almost appear to be in the back pockets of certain attorneys, who appear to be bought off because certain attorneys have contributed to their election campaigns in the past. The main point of the lawyers' creeds are, number one, they deal with the legal system. A lawyer owes to the administration of justice personal dignity, integrity, and independence. A lawyer should always, without exception, always means always, adhere to the highest principles of professionalism. Not the lowest levels of criminality, but the highest levels of professionalism. It talks about the lawyer's obligation to his client, what the lawyer owes the client. Point 3 talks about lawyer to lawyer, what a lawyer owes to opposing counsel in the conduct of legal transactions and the pursuit of litigation, courtesy, candor, cooperation, and scrupulous observance of all agreements and mutual understandings. And further it goes on, point 4 would be the lawyer and the judge. Lawyers and judges owe each other respect, diligence, candor, punctuality, and protection against unjust and improper criticism and attack. Lawyers and judges are equally responsible to protect the dignity and independence of the court and the profession. Anyway, after going through those things, it talks about the order of the Supreme Court of Texas and the Court of Criminal Appeals. The conduct of a lawyer should be characterized at all times by honesty, candor, and fairness. In fulfilling his or her primary duty to a client, a lawyer must be ever mindful of the profession's broader duty to the legal system. The Supreme Court of Texas and the Court of Criminal Appeals are committed to eliminating a practice in our state by a minority of lawyers of abusive tactics which have surfaced in many parts of our country. It's very interesting that the Supreme Court of Texas actually acknowledges that there are attorneys that engage in these practices, these abusive tactics, which have surfaced in many parts of our country. And Texas is not exempt to these attorneys existing. In fact, many of us would say that we wonder at times whether it is the minority that this is applying to, or whether that minority is a growing minority. We believe such tactics are a disservice to our citizens, harmful to clients, and demeaning to our profession. The abusive tactics range from lack of civility to outright hostility and obstructionism. Such behavior does not serve justice, but tends to delay and often deny justice. Attorneys can delay justice, attorneys can deny justice, and attorneys sure can make a lot of money doing both of these things. The lawyers who use abusive tactics instead of being part of the solution have become part of the problem. In my belief, Attorney Rick Robertson of KoonsFuller is part of the problem. He is part of these attorneys that is being talked about right here. This is my opinion based on what I've seen and also what I've experienced, the video of which is coming up after I'm done. The desire for respect and confidence by lawyers from the public should provide the members of our profession with a necessary incentive to attain the highest degree of ethical and professional conduct. These rules are primarily aspirational. Compliance with the rules depends primarily upon understanding and voluntary compliance, secondarily upon reinforcement by peer pressure and public opinion. So when I'm reporting, I am bringing in that secondary means of enforcement, not necessarily by peer pressure as much as by public opinion. The public has a right to know what type of abusive tactics are taking place in our courts in the state of Texas, and I believe that Attorney Rick Robertson of KoonsFuller was engaged in just such a tactic to try to exclude me from the courtroom. And finally, when necessary, by enforcement by the courts through their inherent powers and rules already in existence. These standards are not a set of rules that lawyers can use and abuse to incite ancillary litigation or arguments over whether or not they have been observed. We must always be mindful that the practice of law is a profession. As members of a learned art, we pursue a common calling in the spirit of public service. How many lawyers really talk about public service versus private enrichment? When they talk among themselves, do they say, let's do this for the public? And they talk about how much money we have made off of these clients who often they perhaps disrespect in their conversation with each other as they brag about how much money they have taken from them. We have a proud tradition. Well, some people would dispute that, but the aspirational goal is that the practice of the law be a proud tradition. Throughout the history of our nation, the members of our citizenry have looked to the ranks of our profession for leadership and guidance. Let us now, as a profession, each rededicate ourselves to practice law so we can restore public confidence. Public confidence had been broken. They are seeking to restore public confidence. I will be honest with you, my confidence has not been restored at all. If anything, my confidence in the system has been diminished. And I speak on behalf of many people. I have gone to different courts. I have watched what these attorneys have done. I've seen sometimes when judges have participated with the attorneys in these practices. I no longer have the respect that I would like to have for the practice of law. In fact, in my eye, the practice of law has become something which has been anything but noble in many instances by many people. So let us now, as a profession, each rededicate ourselves. Rick Robertson, this is talking about you too, to practice law so that we can restore public confidence in our profession, faithfully serve our clients, and fulfill our responsibility to the legal system. And by fulfilling your responsibility to the legal system, I would also add that you need to uphold the Constitution of the state of Texas. In particular, Article 1, Section 13, the Bill of Rights in the state of Texas, Article 1, Section 13, which says that the courts shall be open. Attorney Rick Robertson, I believe, is abusing his position as an officer of the court, as a member of the bar. He is fishing for witnesses. He is seeking to have people excluded from observing what is taking place in the court by frivolously and needlessly trying to call them as a witness. just so that they can be excluded from watching what is taking place. As a result of this, several people have already filed complaints with the State Bar of Texas, the Office of the Chief Disciplinary Counsel. You can go online and do this as well. You do not have to have witnessed this in person. Based on the video that I am showing right now, you too can go ahead and file a complaint with the Office of the Chief Disciplinary Counsel. The web address is https://cdc.texas, Texas bar, BAR.com/CDC. The attorney in question, his name is Rick Robertson. He gave me his name before he left the courtroom. Rick Robertson. His bar code number is 17070700. Address 5700 West Plano Parkway, number 2200, Plano, Texas 75093. Again, he is an attorney and a managing shareholder with KoonsFuller. Other people have already filed a bar complaint against Rick Robertson. I am going to be filing mine later today or early tomorrow. I invite you to join us so that we can make this practice of the legal profession noble and not something ignoble. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would ask Mr. Jeff Morgan to stand, please, and be sworn in. And we would like to identify any other people there in the courtroom that may have a connection to the case that we may want to call in as witness. Ms. Morgan?
Okay.
Is that your name?
I don't know anything about this.
Your Honor, Mr. Morgan has posted social media posts on YouTube with interviews of Carolina Garza, references to Robert Garza. He was in the courtroom the last time. I intend to ask him questions, and I would ask that he stand up and be sworn and excluded from the courtroom.
He's not a fact witness, Your Honor. All he is an observer. What Mr. Robertson is trying to promote here is a violation of the open court policy with regard to other individuals observing court proceedings.
I do anticipate calling him as a witness in this matter, Your Honor.
In this hearing?
In this hearing.
For this order? Somebody commented?
There are a number of reasons. I'm happy to answer any of your questions, Your Honor. I'm certainly not wanting to get into a discussion with either Mr. Nath or Mr. Bernard.
Well, that's a great detail.
I was going to ask any other witnesses in the court of the case for employees that are extra. We asked each of you to have an identified as witnesses in the courtroom. If you were going to sit and what you were representing.
Your Honor, so we have the other individuals at least identified.
Yes, sorry. Before you raise your hand, so you're not doing anything.
So everybody on the back row that's not standing, please stand and identify yourself, please.
I'm Ryan Coates.
And what is your connection to this case, Mr. Coates?
Mr. Garza is my father.
Okay, and you, sir?
Casey Garza.
Also, Mr. Garza is your father?
Yes.
All right, and you, sir?
My name is Pastor Nicholas Trappetti, and I'm Robert Garza's pastor.
All right, and you, sir?
He doesn't speak English, but he's my assistant.
All right, and would you stand, please, and identify yourself?
I'm Dr. Farhan Merchant. I'm Mr. Garza's son.
Okay. Your Honor, we would ask, except for the individual that doesn't speak English, we would ask that each of those also be sworn.
Okay, what I don't want to do is get into a position of excluding people from the courtroom that are not possibly going to be called to testify on that. So what I'm asking, as a member of the bar, are you representing that each of the people standing would potentially or you anticipate calling them as a witness?
The only reason on the other individuals, Your Honor, that we even have any possible anticipation of calling them as witnesses is because I don't know what all these other witnesses are going to say. And they may end up being witnesses that I want to question based upon things that are said by other witnesses. But I don't have any intention of calling them unless there is something that is said that they may have